The Kremlin openly laughs at Europe's attempts to negotiate with Russia. Meanwhile, there is hysteria on Russian propaganda shows. I'll explain the reason next. My name is Albina Pidhirnyak. The International Olympic Committee disqualified Ukrainian athlete Vladislav Heraskevich because he wore a memorial helmet with portraits of Ukrainian athletes killed by Russian aggression. For Ukrainians, this decision came as a real shock. President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, commented on the decision of the sports community.
Sport does not mean forgetting, and the Olympic movement should help stop wars rather than play into the hands of an aggressor. Unfortunately, the decision of the International Olympic Committee to disqualify Ukrainian skeleton athlete Vladislav Heraskevich suggests otherwise. This decision certainly does not reflect the principles of Olympism, which are founded on fairness and the promotion of peace. I thank our athlete for his clear and principled stance. His helmet, bearing portraits of fallen Ukrainian athletes, is a symbol of respect and remembrance. It is a reminder to the entire world of the reality of Russian aggression and the true cost of the struggle for independence. There is no violation of any rules in this. It is Russia that repeatedly violates Olympic principles and uses the time of the Olympic Games to wage war. In 2008, Russia launched a war against Georgia. In 2014, it occupied Crimea. In 2022, it began a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. And now, in 2026, despite numerous calls for a ceasefire during the Winter Olympic Games, Russia shows complete disregard and increases missile and drone strikes against our energy infrastructure and our people. A total of 660 Ukrainian athletes and coaches have been killed by Russia during the full-scale war. Hundreds of our athletes will never again be able to take part in the Olympic Games or any other international competitions. At the same time, 13 Russian participants are currently in Italy competing in the Olympics. At the Games, they perform under neutral flags, yet in real life they publicly support Russia's aggression against Ukraine and the occupation of our territories. It is they who deserve disqualification. We are proud of Vladislav and his actions. Having courage is greater than having medals.
I remind you that earlier the athlete himself commented on his position, saying he didn't want a conflict with the International Olympic Committee, but felt he had no other choice.
I never wanted a scandal with the IOC. I did not create it. It was created by the IOC with its special interpretation of the rules, which many consider discriminatory. Although the IOC's actions made it possible to talk very loudly about the dead Ukrainian athletes, at the same time, the very fact of the scandal very much distracts attention from the competitions themselves and attention from the athletes who take part in them. Therefore, I once again propose to end this scandal. I ask. The first is to remove the ban on the use of a memory helmet, because it meets all the requirements of the IOC. The second is to apologize for the pressure that has been created on me in recent days. Thirdly, as a sign of solidarity, which the IOC does not forget to remind of every day, to transfer electric generators to Ukrainian facilities that suffer from shelling every day. I really hope for a quick response before the start of the skeleton competition.
The Kremlin commented on another round of negotiations, including the ones that is supposed to take place in the United States. Here is what Peskov said about it.
Zelensky said Ukraine had agreed to the US proposal to hold additional talks in Miami next week.
There is a certain understanding.
Meanwhile, the Kremlin is openly mocking Europe's attempts to restore relations and start a dialogue with Russia. An example of this is the latest Kremlin statement about possible contacts with Putin.
Dmitry Sergeyevich, yesterday everyone quoted Lithuanian President Gitanas Nausėda, who actually warned his European colleagues, who, as he put it, are trying, further in quotation marks, knock or scratch the doors of the Kremlin, quotation marks are closed to negotiate with representatives of the Russian side. Well, we know that both Mos and Macron are already making such attempts. How does the Kremlin feel about the fact that the Kremlin gates, in the language of the Lithuanian president, are already scratching and scratching? Doesn't it interfere with your work much? Doesn't it distract you?
Well, look, neither Merz nor Macron are trying. There is no need to make any special attempts here. If you want and if necessary, you can just call President Putin. Putin has never refused direct contacts. Moreover, President Putin has always spoken of the preference for contacts even against the backdrop of very serious differences, because these differences can only be resolved through dialogue. This is the first thing. As for the second part of the question, it is true that two camps have formed in Europe. Someone is increasingly saying that, in spite of everything, it is necessary to start talking with the Russians, and this is in tune with our approach. And someone still adheres to the previous approach, completely short-sighted, completely irrational and unreasonable. About the fact that, they say, it is necessary to cut off all contacts and in no case resume them. This is political illiteracy, political short-sightedness, nothing more.
Medvedev made a statement. He said that relations with some countries should be reconsidered going back to the times of the Tsarist Empire.
You know, now there can be such a point of truth. We need to rethink the entire set of ties that have existed in our country since the time of the Tsarist Empire, not even the Soviet regime. Because nothing is eternal. It is clear that we have the eternal, right? In order to protect the country. But, nevertheless, we need to look at it and, excuse me, I will use this term again, to remember everything and everyone who interfered with us. After all, you understand what it will all look like, right? For example, when the special military operation comes to a certain period, I am not saying now, it will end, yes, but for a certain period. I am not talking about the results now, I am just talking about a certain historical period. You have doubts that everyone who is now cursing our country, the president of our country, us, by the way, all those who work in the country in one way or another, who did not run away, who work in the rear and especially at the front, will run to us. There is no doubt. And they will again propose a variety of things, including, by the way, various economic mechanisms of cooperation. I have seen a lot on this topic in my life and have had a lot of conversations with the so-called powers that be, well, mainly from the countries of the so-called Western camp. They sang beautifully, they explained to us why, as a European civilization, we should be with them all the time, why we should unite against someone, and so on. But what happened, for all the tragedy of what happened, nevertheless exposed where we cannot return. I have no doubt about that.
Earlier on Solovyov's propaganda show, they discussed Russian strikes on Ukraine's energy system and said they should continue. Solovyov himself added that Ukrainians should leave big cities. From my side, Solovyov will never see us leave our cities.
And, of course, we cannot but rejoice that we have finally been engaged in the big Ukrainian energy sector for the past 2 weeks. The output of the substation is 750 kilovolts, which is only 6. This, of course, very seriously lowers the entire Ukrainian energy sector, and today we looked at their own data. The average consumption, as it were, the percentage of saturation with electricity, is not in any, only in the 2 western regions, there it is about 48%, and in all the rest it is from 36 and below.
It is necessary to destroy, finish off to the end. Therefore, I appeal to all residents of Ukraine. Leave the big cities, leave. Well, that's right, it is necessary to finish off and the railway must be completely destroyed. I agree. That is, we need to fight the way our generals were taught to Napoleon.
And it's time to deal with bridges, for example.
Bridges are more complicated, purely technically.
Purely technically, yes, but
those we can reach must be destroyed.
In Russia, they understand the real strength of the Ukrainian army, but they judge others by themselves and imagine what a strong army could do. We are not Russians. We do not need someone else's property.
If Ukraine, imagine for a minute, retains the Kiev regime after the end of the conflict, then this army is preserved. Europe is rearming this army, and Ukraine is being taken into the European Union. Believe me, in 5 years, the European Union will be ruled by neither Germany, nor France, nor any Italy, Poland, who else is there? Ukraine will rule there. Moreover, it will do this with the full understanding that its Ukrainian army, if desired, will go through the whole of Europe, and no French, German, or any army will stop it.
Rescues showed on their Telegram how they evacuate people with limited mobility from the areas under constant Russian shelling. The video shows an evacuation from the village of Drushkivka in the Donetsk region.
Good afternoon. Ready?
Yes, of course, we are ready. Let's go to the bench.
Did you take all the documents? Documents, phone. Are you not evacuating?
No, no. Yes, okay, hold on to me. Give one leg.
Good afternoon. Well, you will have to walk a little.
Nothing. The main thing is that this grandfather does not see anything.
Give me one bag can. Hold on to me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Don't walk your legs at all.
One.
Come on, my friend, let's get up, under our armpits and go slowly. You stand on one leg and hold the other up. Go there, sit down. Hello, you are not for evacuation, are you?
Hey, I can't hear well.
For evacuation, no?
Yes.
You?
Yes, me.
With 54?
Yes.
We have come for you.
I take that purse. I nothing else.
Are we taking this?
Take it away. Everything is soft there.
He's got his hand on me. Step. Yes, another one and another one on the asphalt. That's it, let's go straight for now.
Thank you.
Rescuers showed how for the fifth day in a row they are cleaning the rubble of a facility in the Kiev region that was hit by Russia. About 50 emergency workers are involved in the operation.
Майлян на зв'язку. В принципі,
Як він витримав? Я думав, що вони тут домовилися вибрати. Теж не знаю,
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen called for uniting the European financial market to make the EU more competitive. She said Europe must be ready to move forward even if not all 27 countries support the decision.
Barriers inside Europe hurt us more than tariffs from the outside. We must therefore complete the single market in Europe if we want Europe to stay competitive in a world of giants. And that's why we will propose next month the 28th regime. The aim is to create a new, truly European company structure. We call it EU Inc. It is a company structure that will have a single and simple set of rules that will apply seamlessly all over our union for all 27 member states, therefore the 28th regime, so that business can operate across member states much more easily. Our entrepreneurs will be able to register a company in any member state within 48 hours, fully online. EU Inc. will ease access to finance in the startup and scale-up phases.
Thank you, dear viewers, for supporting Ukraine. Please like this video and write where you're watching us from. Stand with Ukraine. Glory to Ukraine.